What's happening, YouTubers? It's your boy CB, and we are back for my favorite segment on the channel, Huddle Watch Alongs with Recruits. On today's episode, if you guys love explosive offensive players and receivers that can get it done in a variety of ways, you have clicked on the right video. I have a special treat for you. 2027 four-star receiver Myles McAfee from Archbishop Spalding is a offensive weapon, can do it all, can take the top off of defense, one of the smoothest route runners you'll see, but he also does the dirty work in between the hashes. And he's one of those guys, I know it's a cliche, but he literally can run a full route tree and is just an offensive playmaker with offers from Indiana, Maryland, Auburn, Penn State, Miami, Duke, Ohio State. He is one of the most highly coveted receivers in the 2027 class, but you don't want to hear from me. You're going to want to hear from the superstar himself, one of the baddest playmakers in the country, regardless of class. Throw the ranks out the window. 2027 four-star receiver Myles McAfee. How's it going, bro?
Good. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming on and giving me your time. I know the off season is a busy time for y'all, not just with 7-on-7, but workouts, visits, camps, all that. So I want to start off with a question concerning all of that. How is it balancing all that, Myles, when especially during the season when you obviously have a team goal that you're trying to reach, but coaches are reaching out, they want visits, podcasts want you to come on, you're going to do work outside of what you do in school as well, and then you still got to be an elite student, you still got to be a son, a best friend, a boyfriend, you still got to have a life. How is it balancing all of that and recruiting?
Yeah, it's I'll just say take it one at a time. You feel me? That's the main thing. Just take each thing one at a time and you'll get through it eventually.
How's this off season been going for you so far?
Good, really good actually. This for me, I feel like this is the hardest I worked in the off season ever. I feel like it's proven on like the offers, on the way I'm performing on the field and stuff. And yeah, big blessings. All glory to God.
So before we get into some of these offers, because you have an insanely impressive offer sheet, I want to ask you about your first one. Do you remember the day you got your very first D1 offer?
Yeah, so I was in 8th grade. So we were
Whoa,
yeah, 8th grade.
that's fire.
Yeah. My first offer was from Maryland, actually, the hometown. So
From the crib.
hmm yeah.
Oh, I got to hear about that.
Yeah, so my dad texted me like, "Do you want to go up to Maryland? We're gonna go up to Maryland, right?" And it was like around April, I think. And yeah, sure enough, we in there. I'm just with the whole. It was for a practice, and I'm just with the staff in the meetings. Then like my dad was with the coach and stuff. Well, I was with the players, so I don't know what they were talking about and everything. So then after like a whole day, I met up with the coach and everything. Coach Locks, that's my guy, Coach Locks, and he was like, "I know you're 8th grade, but we gonna offer you a scholarship to Maryland."
That had to be insanely rewarding because I know that this is a goal you're working towards, but I would imagine in your mind you're thinking, all right, freshman, sophomore year, I'm gonna start getting them offers. The crib gonna start noticing. What was your first reaction when the hometown, the crib gave you that offer as an 8th grader? Who in your mind you're just there to watch a practice, obviously get to know some of the coaches a bit more. What was your first reaction, even if it was internal? What was that reaction when they said, all right, you have the offer?
Yeah, it was surprising. It was really, really really good, and I felt appreciated.
How's that relationship grown? Because obviously they get in on you that early. They have a chance to grow that relationship from the 8th grade. How's that relationship grown from that first day to now?
Yeah, it's grown a lot. Me and Coach Locks, you like this, and my quarterback and corner defensive tackle are also on Maryland. So it's a
That don't hurt. Yeah, that
yeah.
don't hurt. It's got to also be cool too, because obviously you've been going there since 8th grade, but then you got, like you said, your quarterback is there, so he's telling you how it is day to day as well, which is sometimes you need further insight because that's going to be your home if you decide to go to
hmm
Maryland. It's not just where you're playing ball. So I like that you got former teammates that you could be like, hey, but what's it like on a random Wednesday though? Like when
hmm
like when there
Yeah.
ain't no ball, like what's it really like? I like that you have that insight. So we'd be doing a disservice if we don't get into some of these other ones because honestly, I feel like every time I get on Twitter, it's a new one at this point. I don't know how you keep up with it, because from our perspective, I don't think we can keep up with it. Penn State, a team that's on the rise. Coach Franklin's doing some great things down there. Great quarterback who's coming back next year, so they're going to be front runners and obviously a favorite to make the college football playoff. What was it like the day you got that offer from the Nittany Lions?
Yeah, so I'm gonna tell you a story. So I was on a trip. It was Coach Rich. He's the recruiting coordinator for my area, and he wanted me to come down for a practice, right? So I thought I was gonna get the offer at the practice. So, sure enough, through all the practices, and like they want to see me at camp, right? So, at first I was a little like bummed and everything because I thought I was gonna get it at the practice. So then I went to the camp, right? I dominated at the camp. Then
Let's
after the
go.
camp, I got the offer. Then like after, uh, Max Preps reposted my like camp, like going crazy against all the people. So like every
What's those atmospheres like, Myles? For those of us that haven't been in that pressure cooker, because don't get it twisted, it's a pressure because you're going against some of the best talent from around the country. What are some of those camps like, and how much do you enjoy getting to go against the other top DBs in the country?
yeah, honestly, when like the pressure doesn't really get to me. Like everybody has them pre-game jitters and everything, but honestly, if you train, just stick to your training and just go. And then, hey, you gotta perform.
Did you know before you went to that Penn State camp? Because obviously now you got the chip on your shoulder. Did you know before, like the day before, like, bro, I'm finna tear this thing up? Like they have no
Yeah.
idea.
So,
I'm finna.
so the day before, I was at a different camp, and I got Indiana. Indiana, I got yeah. So I got Indiana. The day it was
Oh,
I wasn't at Indiana.
you was
Yeah.
on fire. That
Yeah.
what?
Uh-huh.
So let's get
I,
into that. That's another team made the college football playoff
mhm.
this year. Fantastic energy down there. So you got the Indiana offer when you were at a different camp.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So then I went to Penn State, right? And yeah, sure enough, just prayed a lot on it, and I did really good.
And then when we talk about receivers, I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up Ohio State. Not just what they did this past year with JJ, but if you look at the receivers that are in the league right now, Garrett Wilson, Jackson Smith, and Jigba, I'm going to miss some because there's been so many. What was that like? That's got to be a different type of validation for a receiver when Coach Hartline picks up the phone. What was that day like when you got that offer from the reigning national champions?
hmm So so I had a big game in Ohio. It was our first game of the season. I scored 3 touchdowns, and they were ranked they're ranked somewhere in the top 25, I believe. And their corner, he's like top two. I think he's either number 2 or number 1 corner in the class of 2026. So I had a really big game against Hoban. That's the team name. And then one of the Ohio State recruitinators, he texted me talking about come to the game, right? So went to the game. For Ohio State, I definitely didn't think I was gonna get the offer when I got up there. I definitely
Did you
thought I
really
was gonna
think?
get
Oh,
it.
I just balled out, so
Yeah.
they just invited me.
Yeah, so I thought they were just gonna invite me, right? So sure enough, went to um went to Ryan Day. He was like, "We're gonna offer you a full scholarship and everything." And yeah,
What what's the most rewarding way to get there? Because it seems like you've gotten offers in a variety of ways, whether it's after dominating at a camp, balling out at a game, 3 touchdowns against one of the best DBs in the country. I know all of these are special in their different way, but does it feel different when it's after a game when you know, like, man, hey, I just tore it up, and then the phone rings, like, yes, you did, bro, and here's here's an offer to come play for us.
yeah. I feel like the camp is the most because you're actually there and you earned it. So I feel like the camp is the most rewarding.
Yeah, that especially when you know ahead of time, like, hey, I'm finna show out today, and
hmm
they have no idea. I should have
Yeah.
got this 2 weeks ago. I'm finna tear these people up. Though when we talk about offense too, the number one offense in the country last year with Cam Ward at the helm, that offense was absolutely explosive. Xavier Restrepo, Jacoby George, the list goes on. But when we talk about Miami receivers, the one constant I always hear from recruits is how genuine Coach Kevin Beard is. What have your interactions been with Coach Kevin Beard?
Yeah. So Coach Kevin, so my receiver trainer, DMAC, he's around the DC Maryland area, and they're best friends. So
Oh,
they've been
that was
rocking
it.
with each other for a long time. So Coach Kevin, before he went to the school, Archbishop Barton, he went to DMAC, right? And he was just talking about me and all that. He already knew about me, and then he came to Archbishop Barton, and while I was in weights, had a talk with him, and he offered me a full scholarship, and he was just keeping it real with me.
You hear so much that he doesn't really recruit players. It's more like building a relationship.
Hmm.
From your standpoint, though, from the player's standpoint, is there a style of coach or a style of play or vibe that you like from a coach or a coaching staff? Like, what are some of the things you like to look for when you're going on a visit?
Yeah, some of the things I like to look, obviously the family, coach, relationships, and everything. How I would fit into the scheme of the offense, and yeah, it's seeing if I can develop while I'm there.
I like that too, because that's the best kid. Like I'm coming in here. Can you take me to that next level? Like
Hmm.
I'm here to put the work in, but do you have a track record of improving receivers? Are guys getting better from their sophomore to their junior year? I like that you don't just look at the superficial things like, hey, the cleats fire. I like that you're looking at, all right, he had 50 catches this year. Like, did he go up this year? Why did he go down? Do you develop? Do you improve? Before we get into the film, I'd be remiss if I didn't bring this up for two reasons. One, you have one of the best stamps of approval from receiver that I think a receiver can have when Torrey Smith gets on social media and says it's the best receiver in the country. Twofold. What's it like knowing a guy like that sees that kind of talent in you? And what's it like playing for him and for his 7-on-7 team?
Yeah, definitely a blessing. Tori's my guy. Been rocking with him since eighth grade. All it was the eighth grade All American game, and yeah, just building a relationship with him ever since. And yeah, joined the 7-on-7 team, and yeah, just appreciative, man.
How much do you feel like you've evolved?
I'm actually gonna see him tomorrow and just chill with him.
How much do you feel like you've evolved just having someone like that that's been in your shoes, that's done what you're trying to do, someone that you can lean on for little tips and advice? How much do you feel like you've evolved as a receiver? If you could look back at eighth grade Myles
Mhm.
and see Myles now, how much of that can be attributed to not just Torrey Smith, but also playing for level 82 as well? Because you out there with not just you, it's a bunch of dogs at receiver and at DB as well.
Yeah, I feel like I improved a lot each year. I feel like I done a lot of improvement in level 82. You going against the best competition, so you bound to improve, and just seeing where everybody's level is at, and see how you match up.
So for those of y'all that have not seen the film, if he improve on this next year, we gonna run out of stars. I don't know what rivals 24/7 is gonna do. We gonna break the star. So I'm gonna ask you for as a receiver that does that double move, that can do everything. What's more enjoyable? If I told you game on the line, you either can get a 60-yard go ball to win the game or a jailbreak screen that you break for 60 yards to win the game. Which one would be more enjoyable for you?
Uh, the go route, definitely the go route. Yeah.
Yeah, that's that. You just want to cook somebody.
Hmm.
That's what that comes down to. But someone with your speed, Miles, a lot of times when you see receivers that can take the top off of defense, they're not often technicians when they run routes. And it's not even a dig at them. It's just they didn't have to because they just can beat you.
Hmm.
You can do that, and you're still a technician. This double move works not just because his head's in the backfield, but how crisp you sell that hitch. Talk to what goes into being a technician as a route runner.
I feel like just the training, and I feel like underrated things people don't talk about is studying NFL receivers. That's what I do a lot, and I just take their moves. To be honest,
Who are some of the guys you like watching?
my favorite receiver is Devontae Smith on the Eagles because we like similar body types.
And then you get to do a little bit. We sometimes you see a number one, we don't see him get to do everything in an offense, but your offensive coordinator seems like he likes to get a little bit creative with you too. How
Hmm.
much do you enjoy some of that freedom he gives you to move you around and have you do different things?
Yeah, Coach Smith definitely. Yeah, they move me around, get me to the best way I can make plays, and it's really a blessing. I really appreciate that.
Did you start noticing more double teams this year?
Yes, after the first game,
He had
double
three
up.
touchdowns. Yeah.
Yeah,
That next DC was like, listen, I don't know what's gonna happen, but I 17 ain't gonna beat me. How did
yeah.
you have to adjust your game to now seeing double teams, a safety over the top, and all that?
Uh, it just, I just had to honestly just because towards the middle of the season, I wasn't. I would the other receivers. How do I want to put this? So towards the middle of the season, right? I was being of value to the team more as like taking away and getting the other receivers open, and that's what I have to learn too. And everybody has to learn as you continue to be good and as you continue to be the best you can be. Sometimes you're not gonna make the play. Sometimes the play you're not even gonna get the ball, and that's what I think I learned. I think that's the main thing I learned this season.
Other people's
Making a
stars
play
now get
while
to
you don't have the
shine.
ball.
Yeah,
Hmm.
because now if they're gonna shade your entire way, they're gonna put a corner over your side, they're gonna put a safety over there. The receiver on the other side is gonna eat. How much pride do you take in that? And there's a coach now coming to see Myles, but now another receiver is going off, or they don't stack the box because they like, well, we can't let 17 beat us over the top. Now your running back go off for 200 and he gets an offer. How much pride do you take in knowing that your star can also help your other teammates get noticed as well?
Nah, that's really just great in general. Seeing and our team is not selfish either. So our team like to see everybody win.
The trust your quarterback has in you, Myles, is something special. Because this is one of those, why did he throw this until you catch it? When you're on the
Hmm.
sideline, you go, no, no. Oh, yeah. Okay, 17.
Hmm.
Talk about that bond you have with him, because it seems like even if he knows, all right, DB got decent position on him, but if I put this ball where only Myles can get it, he'll reward me. He seems like he has that ultimate trust in you. What's that bond like with you and your QB?
Yeah, Malik. Malik's at Maryland now. So Blake Howell, he was the backup. Now he's gonna be my QB. But Malik was definitely special. Put it anywhere on the money every time, and great arm strength, and just trusting his receivers to make the play.
Then your ability to not just track the ball, but you have some of the best body control I think I have seen. Have you always trained to make those acrobatic catches? Like, where does that insane athleticism come from? We can all train the high point of football. We can
Hmm.
train the catch, but some of these catches we see you make, some of these over the shoulder, some of these toe taps on the sideline, it's almost like the Patrick Mahomes throwing version of catching the football.
Hmm.
Where does that come from? Have you always been able to make those acrobatic catches and have that kind of body control?
I feel like a part of it is just natural ability, but I also do train. After practice, we do me and the QBs and the other receivers. We make Cam, Josiah, David. We train, and yeah, I feel like train everything comes to light at the end of the day.
How much before I even ask about film study, one of my favorite things about you, Myles, is it's always hands. It's
Hmm.
always hands when the ball's in the air. Ain't no cradling, ain't no body. It's always hands. And I love a receiver that trusts his hands. You had to pluck this thing, but it was 100% trust. You put your hands out there and you knew it was going to stick. I just had to give you kudos for that.
Hmm.
Because uh, you know as well as I know that everyone don't don't always rely on their hands. But when you see a receiver that's that confident, that tells me the work has been put in to know that when the ball is in the air, it's mine. But some of this is you beating coverage and looking like you just understand what the defense is going to do to you. How
Hmm.
how big is film study a part of your game?
Film study is a big part of my game. I feel like that's the other side that is not talked about as much, but you just gotta do. You gotta love it just how you love working out. You gotta be mentally ready.
I like that you said it's not talked about enough because no one ever that they'll let's say your height, your weight, your 40
Mhm.
time, your but they never talk about your football IQ for young receivers, for that eighth grader that's going to his first camp, for that freshman that's looking at 17, like, man, I'm gonna have that 17 when Myles leaves. What would be your advice to a young receiver who is trying to be the next Myles?
Uh, Honestly, hard work and film study. Studying, I feel like most of my ability has came from studying other receivers and just again copying their moves. And I feel like they doing it. So if it can work at high school, then so
It's got to
on.
work, right?
Yeah.
When did it start slowing down for you though? Because we see stuff like this. You made about 7 people miss here, and this looks like you just knew what was happening before it was happening. That means the game is moving a half speed slower for you. When did you feel like that started happening?
uh, I feel like that started happening first game, honestly. But right now in the off season, I feel like right now I'm just becoming more smooth and just seeing stuff instead of just going. So I feel like this season coming up gonna be a great year. I know
If
it
there's
is.
one thing you want to improve on the most going into next year, what is it?
Speed and strength, my physical side of the game. I feel like I still obviously gotta work
Bro,
on
you
route
just
running.
said that after we watched you truck like 4 people. We literally just watched you truck like 4 people. But I love that that was an instant response from you too. So that lets me know you're goal driven. That lets me know that you don't rest on leading the team in yards, leading the team in touchdowns, being a Max Preps All American. That at the front of your mind is what you need to work on. Have you always been that kind of player
Hmm.
where where you recognize the things you do well, but you're hard on yourself as well?
Yes, I feel like I am hard on myself.
Do you have somebody in your corner to sometimes let you know you being too hard on yourself?
Yeah, my mom, my dad, a lot of my coaches. Yeah.
What are they like on the days when you get offered? When you get that Maryland offer, when you get the Ohio State offer, what's your support staff like? What's mom like? What's dad like on days when D1 coaches are knocking at the door or pulling up to the school to visit you?
They're yeah, super excited. My brother, I got a younger brother. He's my biggest fan. He's super excited.
You know what's cool about that? I always love when you guys have younger brothers for 2 reasons. One, obviously, because it gives you a little bit something extra to play for, because you know he up there. You know he probably gonna give
Hmm.
you trouble if it don't turn out well. But bro, nobody gonna be able to tell him his dream is not achievable. Somebody gonna tell him, even if he don't want to play ball, Miles, if he like, man, I want to paint or I want to be the next best beat maker. Nobody's gonna be able to tell him, oh, you can't do that, because he's gonna say, well, my big brother been saying he wanted to play D1 football and then be in the NFL his whole life, and he did it. So
Hmm.
how nobody's gonna be that's a powerful message to send a young man because he's watching everything you do and he's watching you do things the right way too. So he knows, all right, if I just put in the work the same way my brother did, I can be great at whatever it is I want to be great at. And that is a serious, powerful message. Shout out to little bro. How old is your little brother?
He's 10.
Is he
Yeah.
so has he got the football bug yet?
Nah, he not. He like on the VR, the video games. He on his video game type.
See, but the same way he can be elite at that, and somebody gonna tell him, "Hey man, you need to put that down. You're not gonna be able to do that for a living."
Hmm.
He gonna say, "Why not? What?" But if I put the work in, my brother is proving to not just me but to the country that
Hmm.
if you work hard at something, you can be great at it. So in 10 years, when he's the number 5 gamer in the world, somebody gonna be like, "How'd you know that was possible?" He gonna be like, "Because my brother, I watch my brother work hard, and I know if I just work hard, I can accomplish what he accomplishes." Someone that works as hard as you, I gotta ask you, because some days ain't gonna be fun, Miles. I know it's fun when you catch a 60-yard bomb. It's fun when you get to go to OT7 and you get to destroy people dancing. But some days you're gonna be tired. Some days you didn't have a test, you didn't have to stay up because you worried about the test, so you want to get some extra study in there, but you had to lift that night too. So now you sore, you tired, you groggy, but you still got to get up the next day and be elite in the classroom and be elite on the field. What's that why that keeps you moving on those days when you wake up and your body is telling you it can't?
Honestly, just being trying to be the best. It just I pray, heavy prayers, and I feel like I feel like I don't know. It's just in me. I really don't know how to explain
It
it for
it
real.
it's that competitor in you is what it is. It's that when I go to this camp, I got a chip on my shoulder. I'm gonna prove it to them. I'm not my job. It seemed like you went to that camp with not the idea of I'm gonna prove somebody wrong. You were like, no, I know I'm him. I'm gonna prove me right. I'm about to go
Hmm.
out here and prove me right. Have you always been competitive like that? Like
Yeah.
when you were a kid, if we was racing even to the fridge, were you finna knock me over on the way to the fridge?
Yeah.
Where does that come from? Where does that competitive edge come from?
Uh, Parents. Just my dad played football, my mom ran track, and just bringing their mentality to my game.
Oh, so you got athletes in the whole family.
Yeah.
Whole Can you are you faster than mom?
Yeah. I feel like I am faster
Now?
than her.
Now we're in her
Yeah.
prime.
I have a problem. I feel like I'm fastest in the family.
She not in the room, is she? That's why I
Nah.
said this. Okay, yeah. Is she or is she still as competitive too? Like if she hear this, is she trying to line it up with you now?
Yeah.
I love that because that makes sense. Because at first I'm thinking, oh, for somebody to have the ranking you do and to have the accolades you do, to still be this much of a dog, to still be that competitive, I'm like, bro, that's different. So a lot of times it's not that you want to ease off, but it's just that sometimes people don't have that extra gear. But you work and you got a mindset like you're not ranked. You got a mindset like you don't have the offers you do. That's why no matter where you go, you're gonna be good at it. If you decide you're gonna run track, you're gonna be good at it. Because it seems like the way you approach anything, it's like, no, I'm gonna be the best at this, and I'm not gonna stop until I'm the best at this. Even when I ask, like, what keeps you driving? You're like, I just want to be the best. I don't know how else to explain it. I just want to compete until I'm the best. That's what makes you special. I say it on the channel all the time. You can't build a championship without championship players. Ain't no coach in the history of coaching has ever had a locker room full of problems and won rings and won trophies. You build it by having elite young men in the locker room. And then you can teach them the game on the field. But being elite in here and in here, you can
Mhm.
win a championship. You can build a dynasty. You give me 20 miles, I could lift me a national championship trophy. And that's why the offers are what they are. That's why the Dukes, that's why the Auburns, that's why they're kicking down your door. It's not just because you can take the top off any defense. It's because after doing that, you're gonna ask your quarterback if he want to throw right after the game. You're gonna do a couple extra sprints. You're gonna do a couple extra lifts. That that's why it's not just because you're elite on the field. It's because you're elite in life as well, and you're an elite young man. So I gotta ask, what's the goal for next year? This year was a phenomenal season. Like I said, we're gonna run out of stars, Miles. But what's your if I had to ask, what's your personal goal for next year?
Personal goal: win a fourth championship in a row. So freshman year, I was at St. John's College High School. It's in DC. So I transferred to Archbishop Spalding. So I'm a transfer. So I transferred to Archbishop Spalding, and we wanted the third back to back to back. Now it's our fourth, so we gotta make sure we get that fourth back to back to back. I want not just me, but I want all the receivers to improve on their game and just increase numbers.
What was that experience like? Not because it seems like you haven't lost much in your life, Miles. What was that experience like winning a state championship?
Yeah, it was really, really, really just a big blessing. Really, really happy.
Is that why you hit the ground so hard right after the season's over? For those of
Mhm.
y'all in the chat, I asked him if he had any time off. He took 2 minutes before he answered, which means he does not. He has no. Is that why that drive to have another ring? Is that why the second it was over, you were like, all right, we need to run this back. So right back to work.
Yeah, I still feel like I got stuff to prove. I still feel like I just want to compete against the best people in the nation. March 15th, OT7 in Dallas. Looking on to put on a big show.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna be there, bro. I just applied for media credentials. So I
Oh,
oh see, listen, the competitor in him. We talking about his ring that he just got, and he was like, forget the ring. Hey, I got a tournament coming up, and I get to compete against the best in the world. That competitive edge, I speak for every school that's on that list. We're all praying we land you. Like I said, you give me 20 of that, we lift a trophy at the end of the year for sure. that mindset. I asked him how much did he enjoy his state championship, and he was like, kind of cool. I have something else that I got another competition though coming up. But that's a different mindset. For those that are in the chat, whether it's Duke, Maryland, Auburn, Miami, I can go down the list. I'm gonna keep them here all night. Let them know where they can follow you, because I guarantee you I'm gonna get asked, what's your Twitter, what's your Instagram? Because we're all just hoping when signing day comes, you lift our hat. So let everyone know where they can follow you on Instagram and Twitter.
Yeah, on IG, Silencio Myles, and on Twitter, Myles Scrap.
I'm gonna put both of those down in the description and his huddle as well, so that you guys can click that and go watch that, because a lot of times they'll break them down game by game. So next year you're gonna see him like, oh, he played this corner, I gotta watch that. So I'm gonna make sure that link is down there. Bookmark that. Please don't blow me up after y'all see him off somebody on OT7 like, what's his Twitter? It's in the description. All you gotta do is click it. You're gonna go straight to it. Myles, thank you so much for coming on, bro. I wish you nothing but good health and success next year. If they stream any of your games, send me the link. I'll make sure I pull up and I'll tweet it out so that everyone on that list can show up and show you love. Next year, after you get another ring and have an even more explosive season, we're going to have you back on so we can sit back, watch that film, and enjoy some more winning.
Yes, sir.
Y'all like, share, and subscribe. Go follow Myles right now. Do not wait till y'all see clips from OT7. Y'all see clips of him scoring on people. Y'all like, oh, but what's his Twitter, CB? Everything is in the description. Go follow him right now. Thank you again, Myles. I wish you nothing but good health and success next year. And at OT7, shout out to the squad. I hope y'all bring home the trophy.
Thank you.
Like, share, and subscribe. We out.